Hi, welcome to Steve's Build Life. I'm Steve. I'm here in the Tin Cantina. This is our third cabin on our 100-acre property here in Kentucky. I'm building these cabins to rent out on Airbnb, VRBO, and other platforms as a way to fund my retirement. I've just gotten done staying here for 10 days for a build trip on our fourth cabin, which is our barn-dominium bathhouse. It'll be a place for us to sleep, a dormitory for me and the guys while we work, my family and friends when we're stopping on our way through to other places, and it will have public restrooms and a laundry facility for some of the future cabins that don't have those amenities. It's always kind of been my thought that if you are going to build cabins, build one, or build anything really, and share them with other people. Build something that you would want to stay in. It'd make you much better at it, I'll say. You know, you'd be a good gauge on what people like, what they'd enjoy, because it's what you'd like as well. When we finish a cabin, I've always stayed in them for an extended period of time, just to make sure that everything is dialed in the way we want it. We're not missing anything, nothing's broken, and you know, it's not rocket science. For the most part, it's worked out real well. This one was a little bit different. I learned a lot from my time in this cabin, and a lot of it was things that we need to do to this cabin to make it more convenient for people to stay in, even if it's just for a weekend. But I also learned some things that I will use planning for the cabins in the future as well. One of the things that I learned for the cabins in the future is that they will all have a bathroom in them. When I stayed here, this one does have a full bathroom. It's got a shower, it's got a kitchen sink, it's got a bathroom sink and a toilet. But it was my plan in the future to build a shipping container that we have here. We're going to turn that into a cabin, as well as one of these geodesic domes, and not have a bathroom in them. We have the bathhouse here that people can use. They can shower, full baths, do laundry, everything they need. That's on a well. These others are on rainwater, so that's been a bit of a problem. During my stay here, because it was, you know, -10 degrees at one point, I didn't turn the water on in the cabin. I left it off, and we haven't had it on yet. It's winterized. We're not renting it for another probably 2 months, so I didn't bother to turn it on. We also were staying, some of the guys were staying in the Squatch Hollow. It's our bigger cabin here, and that has a full bath and a half bath in it, and kitchen and all the things. So I would just go there to use the bathroom, but I would I'd get up at 5 in the morning and need to use the bathroom, and most of the time you could just pee off the deck. If you've got people here all summer peeing off the deck, which you know they will, it's gonna be a bit smelly if you don't get a lot of rain to wash it down. Sorry, this is kind of gross, but if it's not the kind of thing you can do off the deck, then you have to drive a quarter to half a mile to get to a bathroom at 5 o'clock in the morning, come back, I'd make coffee, and then go back for breakfast with those guys and do it again at 7. And for the ladies of the cabins who maybe aren't quite so, you know, passionate about, you know, going in the woods, I think even going off the deck is not really a great option. It's getting kind of gross, but we need to have a bathroom. They all need to have a bathroom, even if it's a pit toilet or an outhouse or something that in the middle of the night you can use the bathroom. Even if you got to walk 50 feet to it, it's not a big deal, but in private to where you don't have to bundle up, make yourself presentable, and you know, trek off to the bathhouse just to use the bathroom. Another thing that I decided, and I was back and forth on whether this cabin would be open in the winter. It will not. And it wasn't for the reasons I thought. I thought maybe it would be too cold in the cabin and it wouldn't stay heated. It did pretty well, and it was as cold as it ever gets in the state of Kentucky when we were here for an extended amount of time. And everybody says, oh, we don't get winters like that here, except that they do. Seems to happen more frequently. This road, if you look down there, I made it up here in a side-by-side. My pickup makes it no problem, and it did when I stayed here. But if you've got a two-wheel drive vehicle, or you've got some bald tires, or you're a little nervous driver in the snow and ice, you're not making it up this driveway. And you can park down there at the bottom where the parking spots are, but then you've got to walk up the ice and snow with all your stuff. And I thought, you know what, we don't need someone sliding off into the creek, winding up on their lid. We don't need someone slipping and breaking their tailbone on the way down to their car. And the heat does become a little bit of an issue here when it's really cold like that for an extended amount of time. I think it's just better for all of us to go ahead and close it down. And I'll tell you why else. Let's go back inside. This is our non-electric mini-me pellet stove by Flame Innovations. Does a great job heating the cabin. It can be a little finicky, and I think it could be intimidating for some people. And when it is really cold, the electric heater that we have on the wall there does a pretty good job keeping up with things. This is probably required when you're down around 0 for supplemental heat. But we ask guests not leave this unattended to make sure that they are here while it's burning. So you'd constantly be lighting this thing, adding to it. I got it boogered up and had a little problem with it to where I couldn't use it. And I needed the extra heat, so I ran a little space heater that I got down out of the shed. That's probably a lot to ask of people when they're on vacation, to be concerned about whether they're going to be warm enough at night. You just want people to have a worry-free experience, and I'm not sure that they'll get that if it is, you know, Arctic below zero, which doesn't happen very often here, but it's hard to predict, so you don't want someone to show up and be disappointed. So that brings me to another point here in the kitchen. This is the RV antifreeze that we dumped down the sink to keep it from freezing in the drains. This is a very small kitchen. This entire cabin is 240 square foot, and I think this kitchen is about 28 square feet. So counter space is kind of at a premium. Also, cooking is hard to do, not because you can't get it done, but just because you burn the bacon in a little cabin like this. If you've ever been in a tiny home or in a camper and somebody's cooking in there, it's just hard to air out, and it can overwhelm the cabin real easily. It can overheat it in the summer. We've got a microwave in here, and before, this is actually the second time I filmed this video, I was taking all the things out that I don't want in here anymore. But we had a really big coffee maker that did pot coffee, it did K-cups. We have an electric kettle here, pour over carafe here, and we had a French press. So all these things that we kind of pride ourselves on giving you all the options to make coffee and all the things, because everyone loves coffee. It's maybe not appropriate here because it takes up so much room. So we've gone to just this little carafe here, and this little kettle here will heat up hot water, obviously. And you could do tea with it, you could do hot chocolate, you could do, you know, oatmeal, cream of wheat, whatever you want, ramen noodle, and you know, you can get a lot of cooking done with just this little setup and the microwave. I had for a while a 2-burner induction cooktop that I kept under the sink. It was hard to get it out. People wouldn't have necessarily known it was there. Took special pots and pans that we kept in the drawer. There's not really enough room for it. So we decided, now that we're not gonna have it open in the winter, and we do have a pretty extensive kitchen outside on the deck, that people can do the majority of their cooking outside. That whole deck and outdoor kitchen was actually an add-on. You know, we didn't expect to have it. We're just gonna do the cabin, and there's a little porch out the back there, and thought, that'll be enough. People are out hiking, doing whatever. As we built it, we realized, man, we need a little more outdoor space, and now we have a picnic table and a bar and a grill and a griddle, and the grill has a sideburner. Let's go outside and take a look. This is a Weber Spirit. It's a nice little grill, hasn't even been used yet. It's got 3 burners and a sear station, but it's got a side burner over here. And on this side over here, we've got some pots and pans and things that I'm actually gonna be taking a toolbox apart, sliding it under the bar, and we'll keep all the pots and pans and utensils and everything outside here in the kitchen. And like I say, since we're gonna be closed in the winter, you know, get a little heater right here if it's a little bit chilly. We got grill and griddle or hot. You know, if it's way too hot, you're only out here for a little while cooking, or you can go inside and you can, you know, do all the things. There's a fridge in there, and we just took a look at everything in there. You could get a lot done inside if it wasn't comfortable for you to be out here. But I think I want to encourage people to do the majority of their cooking outside here. It frees up a lot of space inside and just a lot of hassle with a full set of dishes, pots and pans inside and another set outside. It's less stuff for people, you know, to get dirty, to be in the way, to have problems with. Anyways, so with all the cooking happening outside, we can put the utensils outside as well. I got a bunch of stuff that goes with the griddle, so there's a lot of stuff that's not even here. I'm sure those will all just get mixed together and jumbled up at some point. But that'll work real nice. Real nice, Clark, real nice. Another thing that I came to find while we're here, you know, we went through all this effort to expand the living space. We got a big picnic table out there, a bar with stools. We got plenty of stuff to cook for an army. You can't have an army stay here, you know. In Airbnb, you can list it for how many people your place can sleep. Erica, that manages the place, always tells me, you know, whatever you put down, they're gonna add more. If you put, it'll sleep 4, they'll have 6. People on the couch, people on the floor. This place, we've got a queen bed here, and we've got a bunk up top. A couple, and maybe a little kid. And that couch is about 4 feet long, you could put another one on it. What you don't have room for is all your stuff. You know, I was here for 10 days. I typically pack for 5 and do some laundry halfway through. Man, there's not a lot of room in here. And I had tools and some other stuff, and it was the middle of winter, so we had big winter clothes, sweatshirts, jackets, all that kind of stuff. Even if it was in the summer and you're light packers, you're gonna fill the entire table here, luggage, things like that. So again, closing it in the winter, having it only open when there's a little bit nicer weather, will limit the amount of clothes people need to bring. That you're able to use a table outside instead of needing the desk here. And if it is just a couple or a single person that's here, a lot of people come and work remotely and stay in our cabins, then the desk is available and it's just perfect. Boy, I don't know if I'd have even built the bunk if I knew what I knew now, because it's very tiny, 240 square foot. And we have a spot in a corner for a pellet stove, a full bathroom, a couch, a kitchen, a bed, and a built-in office with a bookcase. That's a lot to fit in 240 square foot. Even if you do have all your kitchen and your cooking outside, you need to have a place for luggage, and you know, it's not ideal to keep that outside. So this process, like many, is a bit organic, or what do we used to say, fluid. So it's a learning process. You learn as you go. And I have learned a lot about this cabin, probably more than I thought I would. I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to stay in it. It was fun. I really enjoy this cabin. I think of the 3 we have done so far, this is my favorite. And everybody that's been working on, all the guys working on it with me, say the same thing. This outdoor space was definitely a good decision. It gives you a little more wiggle room for all the activities. But I'm excited to get this thing rented. I think the guests will really, really like it. The other cabins, man, right now, I was trying to block off dates for me and the guys to come. It's the very end of February right now. It'll probably be much later than that by the time you guys see this video. But we're trying to block off some time at the end of March for us to come, and it's not there. This is kind of why we're building the bathhouse barn dominium with some accommodations for us to stay in while we build, because I can't get it. You know, in the month of March, the big cabin that we stay in is already booked out like 27 out of 31 days. It's only because you get a day in the middle of the week where we only allow a 2-day or longer stay, so you wind up with a day in the middle you can't rent. But I bet you a couple of the gap in there that will fill. So anyways, they're renting very well. It's getting harder and harder for us to find time to come here and go, which is just fine. That's what they're for. So I'm excited for what's to come here. This cabin, I'm gonna stick a fork in it, you know. I will be back at the end of March then. That's when we will turn on the water and open this thing up officially. And I think April 1st, we've got it renting. I'll be back here at the end of April for Easter with my family. We'll all get some time to stay here, and we'll be staying in this cabin. We'll be staying in all the cabins. I blocked the entire place off for my family. That'll be a lot of fun. And then it's off to the races. This thing will rent, I think, really well. Anyways, I'm rambling once again. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.